The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. Think about the last time you truly fell in love. It wasn't just about how they looked, was it? There was something deeper, something almost invisible, pulling you toward them, an unspoken force that went beyond attraction, beyond logic. Maybe it was the way they saw you, not just your face, but the parts of you you've never shown anyone. Or maybe it was the way you could finally breathe around them, as if the weight you'd been carrying for years suddenly didn't matter. This is exactly what Carl Jung believed, that people fall in love for only two reasons, and when you understand these reasons, you begin to see every relationship in a different light. Love is not an accident, not a random spark between strangers. It's a meeting between the deepest parts of two people, parts that usually remain hidden. And the moment those hidden places recognize each other, something irreversible happens. It's not about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone who awakens what has been asleep within you, or someone who gives you the safety to finally let it out. In Jung's view, these are the only two forces that make love real, the only two reasons it takes root and grows. If you want to keep uncovering these hidden truths about love, psychology, and human nature, make sure you subscribe and join this journey, because what you're about to learn could change the way you see connection forever. Let's explore what Jung meant and how you can recognize and nurture these two powerful forces in your own life. The first reason Carl Jung believed people truly fall in love is something far deeper than appearance, charm, or even shared values. It's what he would call psychological resonance, a magnetic pull between two unconscious minds that recognize each other long before the conscious mind begins to make sense of it. Jung never saw love as a mere coincidence or a simple alignment of interests. He saw it as the mysterious meeting of two inner worlds, each carrying its own history, wounds, and unrealized potential. This is where his concepts of the Animus and Anima take center stage, the inner masculine within every woman and the inner feminine within every man. These are not just poetic ideas, they are parts of our personality that often remain hidden, waiting for something or someone to awaken them. When you meet a person who naturally embodies the qualities you've repressed, ignored, or never dared to express, there is often an instant and almost uncontrollable attraction. This is not the shallow spark we often talk about. It's a recognition, a silent acknowledgement between your inner self and theirs. Imagine a quiet, self-contained man suddenly drawn to a woman who is free-spirited, expressive, and unafraid to challenge the world. On the surface, they seem opposite, yet her fearlessness calls out to the dormant courage inside him. Or picture an independent, guarded woman inexplicably fascinated by a man who is deeply empathetic and emotionally open. His openness awakens her own buried tenderness. These encounters feel fated not because of some external magic, but because they touch a deep psychological blueprint within us, something that was there long before we met the other person. Jung believed that in moments like these, the unconscious is not just influencing attraction, it is directing it. Your mind is not simply looking for someone who fits you, it's searching for someone who reflects the parts you have left unexplored, someone whose presence challenges you to become more whole. This explains why some relationships feel so transformative. They don't just make you happy, they change who you are. That bold person in your life might push you to speak your mind more often. That deeply compassionate partner might inspire you to lower your guard and share your feelings. The attraction is not merely to the person, but to the version of yourself that comes alive in their presence. But there's a hidden truth here that many people miss. You don't have to wait for someone else to awaken those qualities in you. In fact, the most magnetic people, the ones who seem to effortlessly draw others in, are usually those who have already done the work of exploring their own inner world. They've made peace with their hidden traits, brought their unconscious strengths into the light, and learned to express them without fear. This makes them complete in themselves, and ironically, it is this completeness that makes others want to be around them. So how do you develop this psychological resonance within yourself? Start by noticing the traits you admire most in others, especially the ones that stir a mix of fascination and envy. That's often a clue to what you've neglected in yourself. If you admire courage, ask where in your life you've been holding back. If you respect emotional openness, explore why you've been afraid to show it. Then, instead of passively wishing for someone who can bring it out in you, actively practice embodying it in your daily life. Speak up when you'd normally stay silent. Show warmth when you'd normally keep your distance. These small, intentional steps awaken the dormant parts of your personality. When you live this way, something shifts in the way others experience you. You stop sending out the energy of someone incomplete and searching, and instead radiate the presence of someone who is whole yet endlessly interesting. This doesn't just make you more attractive, it makes the attraction more real. The people who connect with you will be drawn not to a mask or an image, but to the depth of your being. And that kind of connection is far more likely to last because it is rooted in authenticity rather than illusion. Carl Jung's insight into this first reason people fall in love is a reminder that real attraction isn't built on trying to be what you think others want, it's built on becoming fully yourself. That self-knowledge, that willingness to bring your hidden strengths into the light, is the silent force that pulls the right people toward you. And when it happens, you'll feel it, not just in your mind, but in the deepest parts of who you are. The second reason Carl Jung believed people truly fall in love is not about intensity, passion, or the spark we often chase. It's about something quieter, but infinitely more powerful, the feeling of emotional sanctuary. This is the space where you can be entirely yourself without fear of judgment, rejection, or the need to wear a mask. It's not about constant thrills or high drama. It's about finding a person in whose presence you can finally exhale, where the armor comes off without you even realizing it. Jung understood that love rooted in this kind of safety doesn't just feel good, it transforms you. In his view, deep emotional bonds grow in the soil of psychological safety, where two people trust that they can bring their unpolished, imperfect, even fragile selves into the light without risking the connection. It's a kind of unspoken contract that says, you don't have to be perfect here, you don't have to be anyone but yourself. This is why love that's built on emotional sanctuary often feels so grounding. It's not dependent on performance, appearance, or keeping up an image. It's about two people who accept and value each other as they are, while encouraging each other to grow. Think about the rare person in your life you can talk to for hours without realizing the time, the one who listens to you, not waiting for their turn to speak, but listening to truly understand you. They remember the little things you've said, not because they were trying to impress you, but because they cared. With them, silences aren't awkward, they're peaceful. You don't feel the need to fill the air with words because even quiet moments feel like connection. That comfort doesn't happen with everyone. It's a sign of a deep emotional alignment that makes love feel safe enough to flourish. Jung believed that this kind of connection is what allows relationships to survive the storms that passion alone cannot weather. Passion can start a fire, but emotional safety is what keeps it burning steadily over years. It's the difference between love that flickers out when life gets hard and love that becomes stronger in the face of challenges. Emotional sanctuary doesn't mean you avoid conflict or pretend differences don't exist. It means you can face those differences without fear of losing the other person's respect or affection. But here's the truth. You can't expect to experience this kind of connection if you're not willing to offer it yourself. Emotional safety is not something you demand, it's something you give. It begins with presence, putting down your phone, looking someone in the eye, and truly being with them in the moment. It means listening more than you speak, resisting the urge to judge or fix when someone opens up, and allowing them to feel heard, even in their flaws. It's about showing empathy, not just when you agree, but especially when you don't. When you provide that kind of safe space for others, you become the rare person they can be vulnerable with. And vulnerability is the bridge to deep, lasting love. Without it, relationships stay on the surface, and surface love rarely lasts. People fall in love with those who make them feel seen without being shamed, understood without being analyzed, and accepted without conditions. Most relationships fail not because attraction fades, but because emotional safety is never truly built. When one or both people feel they have to hide parts of themselves, out of fear they'll be criticized, mocked, or abandoned, love becomes fragile, dependent on constant effort to be enough. But when emotional sanctuary exists, love becomes a home, not a performance. Carl Jung's insight reminds us that while the thrill of attraction is intoxicating, it's the quiet, steady presence of emotional safety that allows love to grow roots. If you can give someone the freedom to be completely themselves, and if they offer you the same, you've created something far more valuable than fleeting passion. You've created a bond that can endure because it's built not on who you pretend to be, but on who you truly are. And that, more than anything else, is why people stay in love. In the end, Carl Jung's insight reminds us that love isn't an unsolvable mystery or a random twist of fate. It's the meeting of two inner worlds, drawn together by forces deeper than the surface. We fall in love either because someone reflects a hidden part of ourselves we've yet to fully embrace, or because they give us the rare gift of feeling safe enough to reveal it. And when you understand these two forces, you realize that love is not just about finding the right person, but about becoming the kind of person who can create and sustain such a connection. It's about self-awareness, authenticity, and the courage to offer others the same emotional sanctuary you seek. If you nurture these qualities, you won't just attract love. You'll build relationships that are rooted in trust, mutual growth, and a kind of intimacy that doesn't fade with time. Now that you know why people truly fall in love with you, ask yourself, which of these two reasons is your strongest? And more importantly, how will you let it guide the way you love and are loved in return?